Magnetic flux is defined as the magnetic field lines passing through unit area. Mathematically, magnetic flux is B dot A, which is equal to BA cos theta, where B is the magnetic field, A is the area, and theta is the angle between them. It has the units Weber. Faraday's experiment lead to the production of the induced EMF in a coil. In the first experiment, in first part, a magnet is moving towards coil, and there is a galvanometer connected with the coil shows deflection, and if this magnet is moved away, then the galvanometer shows deflection in opposite side, because when we move the magnet towards the coil, you see there is a north south pole like this, and when it is moved away, then the this is the case when it shows south pole like this in the coil. uh, Suppose now magnet is fixed and the coil is moved. The same kind of observation is observed. Induced EMF is produced in the coil, means deflection is shown in the figure. And in experiment number 3, when we tap the key, the deflection is shown in the coil, and when we remove the key, again deflection in opposite direction in galvanometer is observed. So Faraday's conclude that uh, first law states that whenever the amount of magnetic flux linked with the circuit changes, an induced EMF is induced in the circuit. The EMF lasts so long as the change in magnetic flux continues, and in the second law, the magnitude of EMF induced in a circuit is directly proportional to the rate of change of magnetic flux linked with the coil. Hence, E is equal to minus d phi by dt, means the rate of change of flux is directly proportional to the EMF induced in the circuit, where negative sign indicates the Lenz's law. The Lenz's law states that induced current will appear in such a direction that it opposes the change responsible for its production. Here negative sign is basically law of conservation of energy, that one form of energy is converted to another form of energy. The reduced mechanical energy in moving magnet with respect to coil is converted into electrical energy that produces the induced current in the coil. Self-induction. It is a property of a coil by virtue of which the coil opposes any change in the strength of current flowing through it by inducing an EMF in itself. This is a coil, a cell and a tapping key is connected across it. The flux is directly proportional to the current, and phi is equal to Li, where L is a coefficient of self-induction. L has units of Henry. Let us find its value for a long solenoid. We know that B is equal to mu naught Ni. When the current is passed in the coil, the magnetic field is given by the relation mu naught Ni, where N is the number of turns per unit length. Of course, we know that the flux is given by NBA, because N are the number of turns of this coil. Put the value of magnetic field and compare this equation with phi is equal to Li. You will get the value of L, that is mu naught N square Al. Mutual induction. It is a property of two coils by virtue of which each opposes any change in the strength of current flowing through the other by developing an induced EMF. Here, for this we have considered two coils. In one coil, we have given a cell that gives EMF with the coil and a tapping key. When the tapping key is pressed, the deflection is observed in the second coil. This phenomena is the mutual induction. For this, phi is equal to Mi, where M is the coefficient of mutual induction. Units Henry. Let us find its value for this arrangement. The magnetic field is given by the first coil, that is B1 is equal to N1 mu naught I. whereas flux is changed in the second coil, that is N2 B1A. Put the value of B1, compare the equation 1 and 2, means phi is equal to Mi, and this equation number 2, you will get the value of M, that is mu naught N1 N2 La. Eddy currents. When a metal disc or a plate is moved in or out of magnetic field, the relative motion of the field and the conductor induces a current in the metal plate. These currents are called eddy currents or Foucault. They have so many applications. First application is electromagnetic damping, second induction furnace, third electromagnetic brakes, fourth inductive motor, fifth speedometer, and sixth one is diathermy. Whereas they have also disadvantages like causing unnecessarily heat. So there are so many methods to find induced EMF. We know the relation phi is equal to BA cos theta. If we change B, A or angle, then we can have the change in flux, and that flux can cause induced EMF. And Faraday's first, second, third law show how the magnetic field is changing. Let us now discuss how we can change the area. Let us say this is the magnetic, the dots are showing the magnetic field. A coil is held perpendicular to it. It is moved out of the magnetic field with velocity v, and let us say the length x is variable, so it has a decrease in area, that is L into dx. So flux linked with it also changes, that is minus BL dx, because flux is B into area. Differentiate it, we will get the value of EMF, and that dx by dt will give velocity, so we will get the value of EMF, and hence we can get the value of current. Means by changing the area we can get induced EMF and hence the current. So this is the second way how we can change the area of the coil and we can get the value, or we can get the EMF. So dynamo is a third example when we can change the angle. Fleming's right hand rule. Thumb represents the motion, first finger represents the magnetic field, and the central finger represents the current. Now let us apply this AC to a resistor of resistance R. E is equal to E naught sine omega t is the sine wave, is the AC. When we have to find out the current, we have to divide this EMF by R. So E naught by R is let I. So I is equal to I naught sine omega t. Compare equation 1 and 2. You see here the sine of the angle is same, so phase difference is 0. So hence this kind of phasor diagram is observed. So this kind of phasor diagram is observed for AC through resistance. This is a sine graph for EMF and current. So when we apply AC to L, then you know the Faraday's law of EMI, E is equal to L di by dt. From here obtain the value of current by putting the value of I, that is E, that is E naught sine omega t. After integrating you will get that I is equal to E naught upon L minus cos omega t divided by omega. So omega L is the inductive reactance and E naught upon XL is the peak value of the current. So here negative sign and cos is different than occurring E is equal to E naught sine omega t. We have to eliminate this negative sign and cos also, so we can use the relation sine omega t minus 90 degree. So comparing equation 1 and 2, you will get the phase difference equal to pi by 2. So from here it is clear that EMF leads current by 90 degree or current leads EMF by 90 degree. So this phasor diagram indicates how EMF is leading the current, and this is the graph for sine and cos. This is for EMF sine graph, and minus cos is for current. And when you compare these two graphs, you can merge these graphs by this figure. Let us discuss again inductive reactance. XL is omega L. It is a resistance offered to the inductor by AC circuit, and omega is 2 pi f. So XL will be equal to 2 pi FL. From here it is clear that if frequency is 0, frequency is 0 for DC circuit, so XL is 0, means inductive reactance for inductor is 0 when it is connected to DC, means it passes DC. But on other hand, if frequency is large, it will block AC. Now let us apply this AC to capacitor. Again consider E is equal to E naught sine omega t as a sinusoidal wave given to the capacitor. Find out the relation for current using I is equal to dq by dt. Put Q is equal to CV or CE. Put the value of E is equal to E naught sine omega t. After differentiation, you will get I is equal to I naught cos omega t. Convert it into sine, then easily it can be converted sine omega t plus 90 degree. Now find the phase difference by subtracting these two angles of EMF and the current. You will get pi by 2. Earlier you got minus pi by 2 in inductor, but here it is plus pi by 2. It means EMF lags I by 90 degree, or I leads E by phase 90 degree. So you can see it clearly from the phasor diagram that the current is now leading by a phase of 90 degree. You can merge these two waves. This EMF is a sine wave, and for current it is a cos wave, positive cos wave, and after merging you will get this kind of graph. Let us discuss now capacitive reactance. XC is now 1 upon omega C, where omega is 2 pi f. If we put the value of equal to 0 for DC, then capacitive reactance is infinity, means capacitor blocks DC. But on the other hand, if frequency is increased, then it will show easy path to AC. Well, if we consider three things together, L, C, R, then apply E is equal to E naught sine omega t. You know that for EL, first of all, plot a graph like this. It's a phasor diagram, not a graph. On x-axis, I have considered the voltage of resistance ER. Then there is no phase difference between current for resistance, so current is also along x-axis. But if it is inductor, then EMF is leading pi by 2, and for capacitor it is lagging. So this kind of graph, and resultant EL minus EC is observed if EL is greater than EC. Then you can also obtain the value of E equal to ER square plus EL minus EC square. We know that V is equal to IR, EL is equal to IXL, EC is equal to IXC, ER is equal to IR. Putting the value, I will get cancel, and this type of triangle will be observed. And of course, the bases are perpendicular is XL minus XC, and third side Z is equal to R square plus XL minus XC square is observed. This Z is called impedance, and because this diagram is giving, this triangle is giving the value of impedance, then this triangle is called impedance triangle. Of course, we can obtain the value of power factor from here, that is cos phi is R by Z. Now let us find out the average power associated with LCR circuit. Consider current and EMF with a phase difference of phi. Find out the work done, means energy, work done means power into time, that is EI dt. Put the value of E and I, and after solving integration, you will get the value equal to E naught I naught cos phi into T by 2. Divide this work by time, you will get the value of average power, and you can change this 2 by like this, E naught by under root 2, I naught by under root 2. This gives the ERMS and IRMS. So this is virtual power and multiplied by power factor. If you use L or C only, then the phase difference will be 90°. It means average power will be 0, or there will be no power associated with L or only C. This shows the wattless current, means the power will not be consumed in L or C if they are connected in an AC circuit to control the current. Whereas if it is R, then the maximum power is associated with the resistance. Oh, this is two type of oscillations, undamped oscillations and damped oscillations. In undamped oscillations, the amplitude do not dies out, whereas for undamped oscillations, the amplitude dies out. How we can produce oscillations electrically? We can use L and C. Suppose in first figure we charge a capacitor. After some time, the capacitor will discharge through inductor, and this current is changed in the form of magnetic field, magnetic energy in inductor. And from the Faraday's law of EMI, we know that, Lenz's law, that the inductor opposes the induced current in the inductor opposes the cause which produces it, and hence after getting the maximum value, this inductor will give back current to charge current to capacitor, that will charge the capacitor in opposite direction. See, earlier it was positive plate in upward direction, now it is negative plate in upward direction. So again the process continues, charging this capacitor again discharges, again capacitor charges in like this in opposite direction. So the direction of the current in all the circuit is changing. So we can say here that in oscillating current is produced, and hence we can say that this is oscillations. These are LC oscillations, and you can find out the frequency by comparing XL is equal to XC, means F is equal to 1 upon 2 pi under root of LC. Resonance. When impedance is minimum, Z is equal to R square plus XL minus XC, means omega L minus 1 upon omega C square. If XL is equal to XC, then it means Z is minimum, means it is equal to R only. So when impedance is minimum, the maximum current passes through the circuit from one stage to another stage. This is called resonance, and resonance frequency is 1 upon 2 pi under root of LC. But this happens only when the Z is minimum. We can define quality factor. For finding the quality factor, we have to find out the voltage across L or C divided by the voltage across R. So by calculating relation, we will get the value 1 upon R under root of LC, means minimum is the resistance, maximum is the quality factor. So these are the two graphs in which we have shown from Pradeep's book, that if R is 10 ohm and R is 100 ohm, you see there is a sharp rise in the peak when resistance is less. So clearly from this graph between I and omega, that if current we have to obtain maximum current, means at resonance we have to reduce the resistance. Well, let us discuss now transformer. What is a transformer? Transformer is a device which transfers the energy from one point to another point. It uses a core, laminated core, and it has two coils. One is primary coil, another is a secondary coil. In primary coil we give AC input, and across secondary coil we obtained output across it. This output is maybe sometimes increased or decreased. If output voltage is increased, we say step up transformer, and if voltage is reduced at secondary, then we will say that this is a step down transformer. This we can measure, this The principle of transformer is based on the mutual induction theory is given. Es by ep is ns by np, where es is the voltage in across primary, secondary, and ep is across voltage across primary, and ns and p are the number of turns respectively along at secondary and primary terminals. Well, transformer has some losses. When the wire is made up of copper, so when current passes, the heat loss occurs, and this loss is called copper loss. The core is made up of iron, so eddy current is produced in iron. So this type of loss is called iron loss. This is again a heat loss. You see here, for reducing the uh, loss, we have converted this solid core into a metal plate cores. Metal plates are joined together and they are laminated, and also they are formed in the form of sheave E to reduce the iron losses. Then there is a leakage or flux losses. When the flux is not given from one coil to another, this type of loss is called magnetic flux loss. And of course there is a hysteresis loss, means when alternating current changes cycles, then the magnetic field is stored in one cycle and that is lost as a form of heat, and that reduces the efficiency of transformer. For I have discussed that if we change the angle of the coil, then the flux is changed, because phi is equal to ba cos omega t. Omega t is angle. If angle is changed, then the flux is changing, and if flux is changing and it is placed in magnetic field, then the current is produced in the circuit. Here a coil is placed in a magnetic field, strong magnetic field, and that gives the leads to the current, because when it is rotated as in the dams, the stored potential energy is converted to kinetic energy that rotates this coil, and that produces the electricity that comes to our homes. For producing electricity, we have used here a coil and a magnet, and for connections we have used two rings R1 R2, and for connections we have used two brushes. Okay, thank you.